You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning. Welcome to our second part of our show, Ask the Master Auto Technician. Remember I said Mike Hill was going to call? Well, Mike Hill called. Good morning, Mr. Hill. How are we doing this morning, sir?
Good morning, James. I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing well. Now, Karen Schoen, you're taking her place this morning. She said you were a termed out legislator in Florida House, and you were in the, what, the 1st district? Is that where it was, sir? What district?
Actually, it's the 2nd district.
Second district,
which covers Perdido Key, Pensacola Beach, and Gulf Breeze.
All right, thank you. I was wrong. I thought it was the 1st district. All right. Well, you termed out. When did you term out? Last year?
It was November, 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, James, it was not a term out.
Oh.
What I had done was I ran for State Senate District 1, and I was not successful in that bid. And when you, at the state level, when you run for another office, you have to vacate your current seat, which was that House District 2 seat.
Right, and I knew it was something that, I know the rules get really screwy when you're running for state, and there's a certain reason for it, but one of the questions that Karen said you were going to call about is, here lately, Governor Scott has been on a statewide tour promoting his economic development program, Enterprise Florida, and our legislator, Jay Trumbull, has spoke out against it, and he's encouraged our county commission to speak out against it, but of course they don't like that. They're speaking out in favor of what Governor Scott is doing by what I call crony capitalism or corporate welfare. And I understand you feel about the same way as Jay Trumbull does about this.
I do, James, and I'm so proud of Jay Trumbull, Representative Trumbull, standing up to Governor Scott. You say it's a statewide tour.
Yes.
I call it a statewide terror attack.
Well, go ahead.
What he has done is those House members, particularly the Republicans, who were on the House Appropriations Committee, who yesterday voted down Enterprise Florida on an 18-12 vote, and also voted to severely limit the funding for Visit Florida to $25 million. Governor Scott was touring, or let me say terroring, each one of those members, showing up in their district, calling together a bunch of business people and telling them what a poor job-killing job that their legislator was doing by not voting for what I also agree is crony capitalism and corporate welfare.
Absolutely.
He was making robocalls into each of those districts, speaking out against those legislators. And to me, that is just not good politics at all. We can agree to disagree on some areas, but to go and attack those members using your bully pulpit, I believe, is inexcusable.
Well, even our county commissioners yesterday, I was able to speak. We're getting GK in. It's a Economic Development Alliance has worked in secret on Project Gondola for the last year or two to get this program out of the country to come to Northwest Florida. And they're going to get their money back as far incentives, is another word for, government spending, incentives. They're going to get the incentive to move here is they're going to get their taxes back after they pay them and they've been here enough time to show that they're really sincere. And I'm going, you know what, in a couple of years you're going to be backpedaling going, well, it didn't work out the way we wanted to, and it's going to be wash, rinse, repeat, the same thing over and over again. And I know you see that as well.
James. Yeah, you are so correct. That summarized exactly how this program works. Instead of lowering taxes for all businesses in Florida, including getting rid of the commercial lease tax, we're the only state in the union that does that.
Tell me about it.
We need to get rid of that commercial lease tax. That's a 6.5% tax that businesses pay when they lease commercial property.
I have to pay that myself on my property to make myself legal. I have to rent this property back to myself as a corporation. I'm a corporation. I have to rent it back, pay it, and I have to pay is it 6.5% or 7%, Anna Marie? Now it's 7%.
Well, 6.5 at the state level.
We got another half cent.
The county can add another.
They did. Yeah. They added another half cent to it. So I'm sitting here going, man, this just isn't right. I mean, every time I turn around, they give my money away. They raise my taxes. And the worst part about it is the voters in this part of the country vote themselves tax increases. They actually encourage the Economic Development Alliance to spend our tax money. And I don't understand how this works, how people can do this. Are they just asleep? They don't care? Are they just take our elected leaders' word that this is a good thing for Florida? I just really don't know why they do that. Do you have any idea, Mike? Because you've been in this before.
Well, James, as you said a little earlier, in your particular county, they were working on a project in secret.
Yes.
And that's a big problem right there. When you're spending public money, everything should be transparent.
Absolutely.
It should be completely accountable, and it's not. What we're finding is that these entities, Enterprise Florida Initiative and Visit Florida, were spending lavish amounts of taxpayer money.
Yep.
For example, they spent $1 million for some goofy rapper named Pitbull
Yep.
to try and do a 1-minute commercial about trying to get people to come to Miami Beach.
Yeah.
Now, that's ridiculous. They were spending an outrageous amount of money on bonuses for those who were part of the entity, lavish amount of money for furniture, which was unneeded. And so we have a brave speaker, Richard Corcoran.
Yes, we
who
do.
said, enough of this.
Yes.
And I think what we're seeing right now is what I would call the Trump effect.
You know,
Where we have a number of legislators saying, we're not doing business as usual anymore. But we are going to make government accountable. We're going to make it transparent. Stop spending taxpayers for the public money and let them keep their own money instead.
well, I was hoping this is correct, but it seems like even though people get up and speak about it, it's like our local officials go, well, we've done it this way for so long, we're not going to change the way we do it because we bring jobs to Bay County. We bring prosperity to our county. And I'm kind of looking at them going, no, all you do is make it harder to have a business in Bay County. We're the highest county in Florida to open up a new business, believe it or not, according to Florida State University. They did a report and said Bay County is the most expensive county to open up a new business in with all the regulation, fees, and permits that must be purchased. And this is why we have a problem with Bay County growing. And this is why it's throughout the state of Florida. Same thing. It's their buddies get it. You know, they get the money and we don't get the money.
That's right. There are this group of elected officials who get into office, think they have to continue doing things the way they are without even investigating how effective it is. And they use the same old tired story that, hey, we border Alabama, Georgia, who are doing these tax incentives for corporate welfare, and that if we don't do it, the businesses will go there. That's wrong. People come to Florida for several reasons. One, of course, our weather, our beaches, our workforce, which is already here, our education system. That's why people come to Florida.
Right.
They don't come here because you were giving them a tax incentive. Now, having said that, we do have a huge success story here in Pensacola. It's Navy Federal Credit Union, who they gave this huge tax incentive to, that Navy Federal has committed to hiring 10,000 people from the local area by 2020. They've been here now about 3 years. They've already hired 5,400. So they're well on their way. That was a success story. But what we find is that out of the about 234 Enterprise Florida initiatives who try and give those tax breaks, more than half of them fail completely. So Navy Federal is one of the few success stories. But here's my question, too, I have for the people at Navy Federal and also for those who gave them that money. Again, you were picking and choosing who the winners were going to be. You picked Navy Federal.
That's right.
What about Penn Air Federal Credit Union?
Absolutely.
What about Eglin Federal Credit Union?
Yep.
I mean, if you had given me that kind of money, I could have started a bank and been successful. So it's not right that they had done it in that fashion. Instead, what they should have done was, okay, you guys, here is our incentive package. Now, which one of you want it and bid for it to come here?
Yeah.
Not us picking you and letting them do it. So again, I am so proud of those members of the House.
Yes, me too.
It passed its last committee yesterday. Now it goes to the floor. Pretty confident it will pass there, which will, in effect, kill Enterprise Florida, a program that needs to go away, and severely limit Visit Florida.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Enterprise Florida, Governor Scott asked for $86 million. Is that correct?
He did. Now, the year before, he wanted $250 million. And he cut that back to $86 million. And the House, in particular, Speaker Richard Corcoran, who is doing an outstanding job, said, no, you're not getting anything.
Yeah.
Now, there is going to be a battle because over on the Senate side, the governor has a friend in Appropriations Chair, Senator Latvala, who does want to fund it. And I think that because of that is why you saw yesterday a desire to limit Visit Florida to $25 million when at the 11th hour, that amendment was added because before that, Visit Florida was also being zeroed out.
Woo! Oh, Lord have mercy. I know we have our state Florida senator here, George Gaynor, and he's on Scott's bandwagon as well. He's the one that voted to continue the red light cameras in Florida. His vote allowed that to continue instead of going to the being defeated. It's just amazing. It seems like all the Republicans that I grew up with that said smaller government and more self-responsibility, I think they become Democrats overnight. I don't know what to say.
That's what it sounds like.
Maybe you're a Democrat. I don't know, but if you are, you're a blue dog Democrat. If you are, you've been held down so long you turn blue, as they say. But it's just amazing. I have never seen anything like it. I remember when these people were Democrats, and because if you wanted to vote in this town, you had to be a Democrat. And then the last 10, 15 years, they migrated over to the Republican Party, and they are like the rock stars in the local Republican Party here. But every time I turn around, they're acting like roads and bridges. Moving forward. Let's be progressive. Let's more taxes. I'm going, what happened to the Republican Party? Is it gone? Or is it just turned into another corporate shill for big business?
Well, it's because they never really changed their stripes. They were Democrats at one time, and they're still Democrats. They sound a lot like Representative Charlie Crist, Congressman Charlie Crist, who will just change your parties to try and get into office. But deep down inside, we all know who they are.
Yes, we do.
And there's no excuse for a red light camera when all the studies show that all it is a backdoor tax for the government. It doesn't make intersections any safer. In fact, the studies show that it makes them less safe.
Yep.
It doesn't bring people to Florida. Can you imagine coming down to Florida, or going to the beach? You go through a yellow light. It's yellow when you begin. It's red before you get through. You go back home to Tennessee, Georgia, Louisiana, and a month later, you get this huge bill from the state of Florida saying, welcome to Florida. Now pay us this tax.
$200.
It's ridiculous, and it should have gone away.
George Gaynor said, I want home rule. That's just another way to figure out how to steal your money at home. That's another thing. Hey, Mike, I really enjoy talking to you, and anytime you want to call, I'd love to have you on here. I really do. Because people, I'm serious, Mike, it's just like they're sound asleep. It's kind of like they're frogs in water, and the water is slowly boiling, and they have no idea they're dying. And they're losing their life, their liberty, and their pursuit of happiness because of all the regulations that's being put on them and businesses, and even private individuals. I'm watching little old ladies lose their income because they're violating code because a trailer is parked on their property, and their 87-year-old lady and their 90-year-old husband, that's the only income they have, but they're going to have to turn that over because of code violations. It's amazing out there, and this is what's happening in our little county. It is ridiculous. Government's gotten too big for its britches. All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening or watching, and Mike Hill will talk to you hopefully later. Bye-bye, everybody.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.